actually doing labor in the form of being a hairdresser, such that a part of the organization is allowing you to experience the process which could lead you to actual spiritual enlightenment, your work has set you free. And with these physical spaces, being able to speak to any theory in design, always using the Holocaust as a backdrop for designing the architecture, the interior design, and the essence of every environment. If I could pull off establishing work-life balance among the few employees that are employed at these hair salons, I'm going to use that as a microcosm to speak to the macro potential of what it could mean for companies all around the world to incorporate this scheduling, this enterprise software where this device is being utilized. And when a member of the public becomes a customer of the salon, they have an opportunity to buy one of these themselves, and so they have an account number here. Oh, sure, I'm just going to plug in my phone. They have their user account here, so that the enterprise which entertains or which has licensing to use our software never specifically owns the data that is flowing through this system. We actually own it. And the point of that is that all correspondence between the private enterprise and the individual is had through here, so that when the employee gets fired, they can produce a civil lawsuit demanding their workers' rights be protected, and we as a nonprofit with a charity will pay for that lawsuit, because a part of this nonprofit includes a charity that promotes labor law and funds the lawsuits against workplace violations. And you would wonder, like, okay, so how are you going to convince companies to adopt a software system that puts them on the spot to respect their workers and follow the law? Well, I'm after mass adoption in the private lives of members in the public to put pressure on enterprise organizations to adopt the software itself. Because if this is your entire POS system, the lack of physical technology otherwise within your company, besides like computers and the such, but this actually as the primary backbone, is enough to actually put pressure on the international or put pressure within the international discussion on the forward momentum of society under capitalism. I'm literally just trying to do a mass awareness campaign to get this idea popular. So at the hair salon, we aren't going to be promoting colored hair. We are after virgin, in my case brunette, but your virgin hair. And then if you have a problem with your self-identity, shave your head, or shave your head, grow your hair out, start from the very beginning, promote a healthy diet, healthy hair products. Shave your head, start the Ashtanga practice. And, ooh, do you hear that? I just shaved this morning. Oh, it's better here. So, hairdressing, Ashtanga, but also tennis conditioning program. Now, why tennis conditioning? Because it's clearly a classist sport that allows you to have competition in your life where you don't succumb to internalizing any sense of spiritual narcissism by practicing a victimless physical exercise, that of yoga. We need competition in our life. It's a fact. And so just give it to them. When, like, what I'm trying to tell you, you might be hearing this for the first time. I want to make hair sexy. I want to make Ashtanga sexy. I can't convince people to practice victimlessness or come to terms with their victimhood to practice victimlessness. The phrase of this phrase of you can take a horse to water, but you can't make them drink applies here. If I talk to you about Ashtanga, you're not going to practice Ashtanga. But would you put your kids into a tennis conditioning program that is both tennis and Ashtanga? Yes, you would. It's because it's easier to care for others than it is to care for yourself, especially under capitalism where consumerism is an alternative to actually doing internal work. I see a psychologist and have been seeing one for 11 years. I've been practicing Ashtanga for 11 years. It has literally worked. And I'm the last person to speak to that because I, like, as a Taurus, just don't care. I don't talk about anything at all, like, unless it's literally my work. And this sucks about my personality because it almost looks like I'm boring. But I don't actually I don't actually act as an entertainer, even in my private life. Like, you're not gonna you're not gonna watch me become a goofball once you know me. I'm like, my place is nothing but books, and then I read, or books and then I listen to music. I don't own a TV. My computer's not even mine, it's my stepfather's. I don't entertain. I have a long attention span and I practice maintaining it. And so children start getting their haircuts at 1 year old. Great. People should be conditioning their children to become a tennis athlete and practicing yoga. So begin their children's yoga practice at 3 years old. You have a reason for your kid to be within this organization getting his haircut. In which case, you're going to have them join the conditioning program. At which point, if a person does 20 years, 2 decades of Ashtanga beginning at 3 years old, they will only be 23 years old. The level of victimlessness as they're growing up through their very juvenile life into preteen, teen, adolescence, young adulthood will change lives, especially if it's mass adopted across Earth. And then it's about, in the instances that they can actually become Olympic athletes, however, giving them the structure to go to law school, go to medical school, and then entertain the idea of becoming a professional tennis athlete. We're going to give that to them as our propaganda strategy to promote victimlessness. And then they go and have kids, and we just replicate the cycle that was taught to me by these patriarchal religious organizations that of Judaism, Catholicism, and Islam against them. We use their strategy against them to promote a pagan, forward-looking, nature-based, anti-patriarchal, pro-women ideology for society. And that I specifically am working to become a legal scholar. I am trying to create victimless killers in court and victimless killers in the court. And that's a part of the intellectual labor. The potential for the useful ideas that could come out from asking ourselves what the law is in the context of a theatrical performance, and what labor looks like in the form of athletic performance, how eugenics plays a role in both the law in sporting and then actually in labor, that of hairdressing, but hairdressing is inherently effeminate. You can ask really good questions about exactly what it would have been like to be in Auschwitz. Eugenics had a huge role, or had a huge point to make about hygiene. That's an understatement. And you see me operating a grooming salon. In the legal community, grooming is very important. And the thing about, like, what's interesting here is that watching your child, like meeting people to then be in a relationship with, to then have children with, and then bond with the child is a excellent thing to do. Or having the experience, like having a healthy dating culture is a really good thing to promote anti-consumerist sentiment. And when you do have a child under these circumstances, you start practicing yoga with them immediately at 3 years old. That's an excellent bonding opportunity for the mother, the father, the child, the children, to connect. There's no patriarch in the sky. There's no interference between the relationship of you and the other members of your family, the way that Christianity promotes, or just these religions promote. It's you actually engaging with labor within your family system at this business. I do wonder what the positive psychological experience of bonding with your child as early as 3 years old on a level as high as doing high level as practicing Ashtanga is, because you're going to watch that child turn into a victimless killer, legal scholar, or high level acting tennis player. That must be such an amazing experience for the young parents. And then they go and do, and then the children go and do it for their children. And so in the hair industry, everything's categorized. There's like a barbershop, there's a salon, there's a children's salon. What I've been able to do was allow at any age a person to come into the system. And because I've categorized gender and not age, literally at the same salon, you're going to have toddlers, as well as women professionals in their prime, as well as seniors. And this is really good because it is a completely novel way to transform the hair industry. I do want to be competitive. Like, I do speak about being a legal scholar. I also want to be competitive in the hair space. I want this idea to work. And that's going to require, there's a term in the tech space. It's called is it explosion or something, like reinvention? I forget. It's that stupid word. But that's it. I want to, disrupt. I want to disrupt the hair space. Literally put all other hair salons out of business. And creating a physical environment for the legal community to come together is awesome. Making the point that no cops are allowed and then inviting the legal community will literally stir up so much social commentary, social discussion in your community, that pro-democratic ideology will bubble up out of it, because there are a lot of people like me that aren't doing exactly what I'm doing, that want an ultimate end to patriarchy and psychopathy in their lives under the nation state. I think I'm going to get a lot of positive reception here because the work is very straightforward. It had gotten to the point, and it has gotten to the point in my Ashtanga practice where I am literally trying to karmically cleanse myself of tapas so that in my next reincarnation cycle, I literally have less karma. And it's